Hello, good morning, London town. Welcome to the Simply Greg Show. As you already know, the Simply Greg Show is all about elevating the mind and inspiring the community by spotlighting the hidden gems in the community. That's ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So basically, every week we have an amazing guest that we speak to who's basically been through a challenging situation, and they basically talk to us about some of the things they've had to overcome so that we can also apply the same methods in order to get the same results. Today, like no other, I've got an amazing guest with me. His name is Johnny CT. How you doing, bro?
I'm amazing, my bro. What are you telling me?
I like that.
What's happening?
He said, I'm amazing. What are you telling me? What are you telling me? Yeah. So obviously, Johnny, I had, an opportunity to kind of bump into him at, we both know a mutual friend who's an artist, and we was at a video shoot, and we had a chance to kind of like, reason and talk. And I remember in that setting, everyone was kind of talking and sharing some wisdom. And then Johnny was like quiet throughout the whole thing. Yeah, just taking it all in. And then at the end of the day, Johnny just starts talking and telling us all the things he's doing and the amazing work he's been doing. So he's going to obviously tell you in a sec, obviously not just, being a podcaster, also doing modeling and doing writing, a comedian as well. He's got a few events coming up soon as well. So Johnny, tell them what's who you are, your journey that led you to where you are right now, man.
Oh, where do I even begin, bro?
That's
the
thing, innit? The funny thing as well, one of our other episodes, we was talking about Johnny, and you end up being a Johnny.
Come on, man.
It was like little Johnny, and then this is Johnny here.
No,
so let's go.
I'm not no little Johnny.
Yeah,
I ain't
true.
No little. I ain't little.
He's like, nah, man ain't little, fam. Man's 6 something. Like.
I'm 6'2" to be precise.
Oh! But Johnny, obviously, you do quite a bit, man, and you are multi-talented. Multifaceted and in a creative way. Yeah. And, you wasn't always like that before. So how did you get yourself in that journey as well? And just tell us your story and how you got there.
I would say in general, I was kind of always creative in terms of school times. When we were roasting each other in school.
Oh, I love that. I remember that, when you were roasting each other.
Yeah, like I was there, innit?
Yeah.
I was always there. Like what I used to do, registration at the end.
Yeah.
I'd purposely come in last.
Oh, wow.
And I'll just walk in and create like a big scene.
Oh, for real? That's
like, there was one time, it was so funny. I walked in late on purpose. Yeah. And I saw like the tensions on each people's desk.
Yeah.
And I walked in, I was like, detention. Then I was like, you man, there's a party from 3:30 to 4:30. Can you man make it? So I'm busting up here, I'm laughing. And then I turn around, teacher slaps a hot detention on my desk as well. And I'm like, nah. The whole class, you were laughing at, man. So, yeah, man. Like,
man made an entrance, done all of that. And then she slaps her.
Like, it was steaming hot, the detention. Straight out the oven, bro.
That is mad. That is joke. But I've never even thought about that. Someone intentionally coming into class late just to create a scene. You must have been a difficult one, fam. How's man purposely timing it? Oh, cool. I'm not. School start at 9 o'clock, and he's like, no. Just 2 more minutes.
Yeah, man. It's all about comedic timing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
wow. So you was a comedian before you even went into it.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the insults going around in school, I would create most of the nicknames for people around school.
Wow.
But like I said to you before, I know how to kind of insult people in a nice way.
Yeah.
Not even being subtle and being a bit snaky, sort of thing. But I can give you an insult that's not offensive, but you'll find it funny.
It's direct, but it's not offensive because it's funny as well at the same time. Yeah.
Like I've kind of just know how to. I can be rude as well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I know how to. What's
some of the bars you've dropped then? Because you seem to...
There was one guy, his face. Yeah. It was
man said his face.
His face was quite slim.
Yeah.
So we used to call him a skeleton.
Yeah.
Because you can see his bone structure. There was a guy we used to call caveman. There was so much shit. This was
all in school?
This was all year 9, year 10 time.
Yeah.
So those times were just hilarious, man.
Just everything would just come out. That's joke. So obviously later on, you've been able to kind of merge into what you are right now and also tap into all of that energy, right?
Mm-hmm. Because I always played football myself. So I was always quite an active person. But even now, if I'm not doing some sort of sport or some sort of activity, I get kind of You know what I mean? I need to kind of release the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but should I make it fast forward to the jobs or?
Yeah. No, just in general, because obviously as you went through, you know, your journey, it kind of like, you know, you was obviously doing the roasting when you was much younger, and then by that time you didn't know that you wanted to do comedy or anything like that, right? It was like later on when you found yourself in a difficult position, that's when you realized you wanted to tap into all your creative aspects, or when was the moment you realized you wanted to kind of like utilize that to go on a journey of becoming a comedian and doing everything else that you're doing at the moment? What was the precipice and where was the turnaround?
I would say just before that, I've always been strong at English and like writing.
Yeah.
That's like my thing. If you give me like maths, I'm not the best at that. But I've always been able to just be a bit more creative. Like the subjects where there's no wrong answer, I was usually quite good at that. But fast forward after secondary school times, I was still playing football. But I noticed like I make people laugh a lot just on my stories or just speaking in general. I wouldn't actively try and be funny, but people would be laughing, even just random.
Yeah.
So that was in my brain, but it was never like, let me actually proper do this. So after college times, my first job was like a waiter job.
Yeah.
It was some 5-star seafood joint. It was like,
Wow.
It was crazy to be just thrown in the deep end like that.
Yeah.
And it's mad because it was a lot of like upper class white folk
Yeah.
at these restaurants.
Yeah.
And I was basically the
Upper
only
echelons. Yeah.
yeah, and I was basically the only black guy on the shop floor.
Yeah.
So like these people would look at me. It was more look like it wasn't who is he, it's more like, who is he?
Yeah.
And I had a funny story as well there as well. I was just walking and this old dude, he came up to me, he's like, do you work out? And I'm like, nah. He's like, you look really good. And I'm like, okay.
Why yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then his wife was just sitting there preying, man.
Okay.
And I kind of knew.
That kind of party.
And I kind of knew after what they were on.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And like, that's just the sort of one small story of what was going on in them restaurants.
Yeah.
And obviously it's my first time working there and I was like, rah, this is like crazy because I only worked in the first place because of football.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't getting paid for it.
Yeah.
But I was working so much to the point where I couldn't even play football anymore.
Okay.
So that was like the start of more sociable journey. Because I was in Central 5 days a week. I was working like 60 hours. So that's like the start of me being more out there. Because when I was playing football, it was just football yard, work. Not that much part-time and all that type of stuff. But the more I was working hospitality, the more L's I was taking, man. In terms of like, I felt like I was doing a decent job.
Yeah.
But apparently I wasn't. Apparently I wasn't.
I said apparently. What he's trying to say, he got sacked and then sacked again and then got sacked. He's like, imagine that though. The person really thinks they're doing a great job. Like, how are you doing today? I'm doing great. Amazing, actually. I'm doing amazing. The manager's like, no, sorry, mate. I think you're out, mate.
Like, I was like, it's gone to a point where I kind of knew when I was about to get fired. I could sense it. It's like you'll come in, you'll say good morning to the manager, and she'll give you like a half-ass like, yeah, good morning, okay, a little bit of mumbling.
He said he could pick up. Imagine that though. Man can pick up when he's about to get fired, you know. Just steps in the rooms, he knows the energies and the responses like, yeah, I'm going to get fired.
like literally, because I was working at even GBK one time.
Yeah.
I walked in and I was like, wow, I'm actually getting fired today. Like, I said that to myself, I'm getting fired. Like, my hunches are always correct. Like, literally.
You know what? Because I hear people who've got hunches for something like something good's going to happen, something bad, but it's like get someone getting a hunch for fired. Like, you don't have hunches for anything else. You're going to win $1 million, but now I'm getting fired. Today, I'm definitely getting fired. So what was it one of those kind of situations that now threw you in the deep end towards becoming more of a creative? But what was it that happened in the last time you got fired in order to turn things around for you?
Okay, cool. So the last job I was with was this bartender job, like literally 2 weeks before COVID hit.
Yeah. And
decent paying job and whatnot. But long story short, they fired me during training. Like,
no,
3 days.
No, Johnny, you just keep getting... This guy's a comedian without even meaning to. How you get fired on your training?
I'm breaking records, bro. I'm breaking urban records.
You ain't even started work yet. They just hired you 2 days ago.
Bro, like,
Johnny, what are you doing? Johnny,
I'm doing what they're asking me to do, bro.
Johnny,
Like, legit.
apparently not.
Like, so I'm a bartender now, and like, I open a prosecco with one hand and I pour it with one hand, and they had a problem with that.
Okay.
They were like, you need to open it with one hand, then pour it with the second.
Okay.
To kind of make it in like a sort of motion sort of thing.
Johnny's popping champs the way he does it in the club, though.
I was pouring it
Johnny,
like...
you're sick. Johnny's popping is like, yeah, you man, more drink, more life, yes.
Like, I was thinking I was in Dalston or something.
Oh, you're mad. No. So there's a way that they want you to kind of do that. It's like pour with one.
Yeah, that's how they wanted the motion, and I was like, I followed it. I was like, cool, we can do that. But that job, it was more cleaning than actually working.
Yeah.
But so cool, they got rid of me on that day, and I was thinking to myself, but you saw me on a trial shift, you saw my CV. What do you mean? They said I ain't had enough experience, and I was like, me not enough experience.
Yeah.
I've been at like what 20 jobs or whatever. But after that day when they fired me, I literally recorded myself on Snap. I didn't post it, just kept it in my archives.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? After this day, there's no more of this in it.
That's
It's no more minimum wage. It's no more being in a place that makes me feel less.
Come on.
There's no more. I'm being free, basically. So cool, I'm going to be unemployed. Cool, but I'm going to be free to actually do what I want. So that was the start of my creative journey. So yeah, I got into stand-up by just like watching it, just to see what it's about. Because I always make people laugh, but I've never actually been to a comedy show before.
Yeah.
During those times, like literally probably a year and a half before this.
Yeah.
So I still was getting the feel of it, right? And then I thought, you know what? Next week I'm going to perform for the first time. I'm just going to give it a shot. So I wrote down my jokes, just a 5-minute set. That's the standard amount that you're meant to talk about.
Yeah.
And so I went there. And then how they do things is like a random selection in terms of you don't know when you're about to perform next.
Yeah.
But because it was my first time, I spoke to the host. I was like, can you give me like the heads up before I can perform? And literally when I went in there, I see like some other comedians practicing their stuff and whatnot. And these guys were like reading off, like they had books and they're writing off books and stuff. And I kind of looked, I was like, this guy's not going to do well just by looking at him. You know what I mean? And then, cool, the show starts now, and that guy with the script was just before me. So the stall's here, his booklet's there. He literally reads the book, goes to stage, and he forgets his lines. He's silent for the first 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Do you know how long 15 seconds is?
Yeah, especially when you're on stage, like.
Yeah, but I was like, I was after him.
Yeah.
And I was thankful I was after him.
Yeah.
Because if you're after someone that's bombed, you're nice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. You can say anything, hello, and they're laughing already, so you're
literally.
finished, you're good.
Or if you want to be rude, you can roast the guy that just messed up. You know what I mean? But then, so it was my turn next, and then, the crowd were roaring. They were just going nuts. Because my humor is kind of like observational humor, where if I'm walking,
witty and quick on the
like I'm a good storyteller. If I see something on road funny, I'll just turn it into a story format. And how they do it, you win like a free drink if you're the best, and it's like a crowd noise sort of thing to see who's the best.
Yeah.
And I won the whole thing.
Wow.
There was
well done.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
There was 20 other comics there. And after I finished performing, I kind of knew I won just from like everyone coming up to me, oh, you're so funny, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And then these other comics came up to me, they were like, who teaches you? Where did you learn funny? And I was like, what are you talking about? I just wrote this stuff, you know what I mean? And it was weird 'cause I didn't know comedy courses even existed.
Okay.
I didn't even know about that stuff.
Yeah.
So after that, of course, COVID came about, so my momentum just stopped. And then, you know, when it was like the second lockdown, when it was kind of eased up a little. Performed again, COVID again. It was just that there was no rhythm to
back and forth
to my actual stand-up. And then even in the meanwhile, like during lockdown, I was doing like animation script writing. I was doing that too.
Yeah.
But there was some difficulties with that. Like I was gonna work with someone, and it just didn't really work out.
Materialize,
But I've still got the stuff on my documents, the actual written series and whatnot. I done like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, fast forward, I thought, I'm a stand-up comic, but there's no funnies on my Insta or nothing. I don't post my funnies on there.
Yeah.
I always prefer to post pictures than actual videos.
Yeah.
I think it's just due to just comfort, because putting yourself out there online is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it's a different thing, especially if it's your first time. Not first time, but you're finally actually putting yourself out there after everything else you've been doing before.
Yeah, like literally, because sometimes you ever had them moments where you post something on Insta and you're like, let me delete that. Let me get rid of it.
Yeah.
Do I look a bit weird or this, that? Or you get a bit self-conscious.
So you become self-conscious,
Yeah, but I thought, how am I going to put my funnies out there without putting my funnies out there? Podcasting, why not? I give it a shot.
Yeah.
Because I filmed one with my mate like a year before I started, just so we're outside, just a quick 12-minute episode.
Yeah.
And I posted that and it got pretty good reviews.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying it's funny, whatnot. And then I thought, you know what, this time, let me actually structure it with questions and actually get guests and do it properly this time. So, yeah, my first episode was about non-league football, because I used to play myself. I interviewed my mate and we just spoke about the insides of non-league football, basically. And even people who didn't even know anything about football or cared about football were listening and being like, rah, like this actually happens in the industry, because everyone knows the chance of actually making it is very, very slim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just the reality.
So your turnaround happened from obviously you being let go and to being at a position where you decided to embrace yourself as a creative and basically open that road and decide, you know what, I'm going to go for it full 100. And one of the things that I love that you mentioned earlier on is that you recorded yourself. It's almost like you made a pact with yourself. You know, you recorded like, nah, from now on, no more minimum wage. From now on, none of this. Like, you know, and you did it at a time that you had the impetus to kind of like, you know, set that mark in stone and be like, no, I'm only going forward from here. And I don't think a lot of people do have that moment where they actually speak to themselves in that kind of way, because, you know, in that moment, you turned everything around for yourself. You got into the comedy, you got into doing creative writing, you got into doing, obviously what you made, the podcast as well, and many other things, obviously modeling recently as well, which has started as well. What are some of the challenges you think that is actually stopping from people from also taking those steps that you actually took? Like, because it took a lot for you to switch that mentality first and foremost and be like, you know what, this is it. But then there's other people who are still in a position where they're still in that closed scenario and not allowing themselves to let loose and go out there. What are some of the challenges that cause people to fear going out there and just embracing everything, especially after being, sacked or anything like that?
It's mainly just comfort, you know, because you got a set hourly pay, monthly pay. You're comfortable. You go into work, you're getting the same paycheck every time. You don't have to worry about you're creating a project and if it doesn't bang, it's going to be very long for you. You know what I mean? But people are just scared to kind of, like, you can ask someone, what do you like doing? Oh, I like doing music. Have you made music? No. So why haven't you made music? Oh, but this is, then you don't really want to make music. You know what I mean? It's all about how badly do you actually want it. Like, every person in general, if you want like a burger or some wings, you're going to get them wings. You know what I mean? It's about how bothered are you to do it. You know what I mean? I feel like it's defo comfort that's stopping people from doing it. I feel
what
like
about fear? Is fear a factor as well? Or?
Fear is definitely a factor, but it's also like, are you even good enough yourself? It could be like they kind of know they're not good enough, but it's kind of a thing where you're losing with that mentality anyways. You know what I mean? So I'll say like, it's just thinking outside the box, man. You just got to think outside the box.
And that's the thing as well. For those who kind of do it so easy, I'm also aware that sometimes not everyone has those knee-jerk reactions to make things happen as others. You know, I mean, some people, as you mentioned earlier on about lockdown, some people in that period of time many people have lost their jobs and so forth. Unemployment, went up during that period of time, or those who are on furlough and so forth. And I thought this would be a good way to kind of, give them a bit of encouragement. Someone who went from one job to the next that got booted, and then managed to find a way to navigate his way around it. And what stood out for me is kind of like the development you did with yourself mentally in order to get to that position, because those doors didn't just open to you, and after one opened, the other opened, and so many more, you know. And it's a lot of mental kind of work that everyone has to do to kind of take the approach. Well, what was some of the biggest challenge, or did you feel that you had to address, or the most challenging moment that you feel?
What, in terms of when I started creating?
Yeah, just in the whole process in itself. Because it's not like, because at the same time, you don't want to give people that notion as like, it's easy. Yeah, you get booted out and you can just go out there and be a creative, or go out there and start your podcast, or go out there, like everything happens so easy. Because you'll see someone go and do something, and it's just like, oh, Johnny said it'll just happen that fast, or it'll just like, it may not work. So in the whole process, there's a lot of challenges, where there's a challenges of believing yourself, challenge of increasing your confidence. What do you do to also increase that confidence and know that you're worth it? You can put your stuff up there. So what kind of challenges did you face in that process of making that transition?
Because me in general, I'm just a confident person.
Look at him.
So like,
Man just said like, me in general. Which camera should I? Me in general, I'm just a confident person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever I got fired or any sort of hardship, I still knew I'm Johnny.
Yeah.
You firing me didn't take away my worth or anything like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get upset. When I got fired, I was like, whatever, cool.
But there's something about the last time you got fired that made you realize your value a little bit more, though. Because it's, yes, you didn't devalue yourself, but you came to realize that, Johnny, you are worth more than this. And there must have been something that was also keeping you to that, you know, in that confined kind of spot. Because like you said, also, it's being comfortable, which is one, like you said as well. But then it's also, and like you said as well, not being confident in yourself. And maybe that might have been a challenge in itself. And how did you also deal with now addressing that vulnerability within yourself in order to be like, you know what, I can actually do that?
It was more like, with that, I had more free time as well. That's the main thing. If I was currently working like a restaurant job now, I probably won't be producing as much as I am right now. Because, you know, restaurants, you finish at like 1 a.m. sometimes, 2 a.m., you know. But what that job in particular is because I got fired in training. Like,
every time you say that, like, I'm finished.
Like,
I don't know anyone that's been fired in training. Like, how you get fired? It's like Friday, man. How you get fired on your day off? Like, your day off?
Like, I was breaking like urban records for firing. I must be on the Guinness Book of Records or something by now.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like, it is, in a way, it is quite straightforward how I done it. It was just, I wanted to do podcasting, make it a weekly show.
Yeah.
Been doing it every week for the past 3 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, man, I just want to win.
Yeah,
it's just you just want to win, and it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it is. It's
exploring is fun, like going into whatever it is you're aspiring. And one of the things I like about what you also mentioned the other day is like it's almost like in that moment you think, I now, rather than thinking, I don't have a job, I now have free time to do what I want to do. It was good when you mentioned that about the mentality that obviously took a shift as well in order to create those new opportunities for you as well, which is great. What were some of the things that you also put in place for yourself that enabled you to kind of see things through?
What, in terms of just continuing despite the fact that I wasn't working?
Yeah,
that sort of thing?
Yeah. How did you maintain yourself, sustain? How did you build yourself up?
Because I even said to my mate yesterday, I was like, you can have purpose and not a lot of money, but you're richer than the person who has money but no purpose.
I love that. You have to say that again. Yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Look, he's impressing himself as well. He's like, yeah, that was with this guy, you know.
I even freestyled that. I said it differently yesterday.
Yeah.
So a man with purpose is rich, even though he doesn't physically have the money, compared to someone who's rich, who isn't following their purpose.
Yeah.
Because life is just about purpose. At the end of the day, if you're an artist, you're not getting paid for it, but you're waking up every morning being an artist.
Purpose,
you're rich in purpose. You know what I mean? Because you know there's a lot of people that are rich and whatnot who are miserable, depressed. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about just doing what you're meant to be doing. Like, I make people laugh. I can storytell. I can speak to people. I know how to conversate. I'm pretty good looking as well. You know
Man
what I'm
said,
saying?
I am pretty good looking. This guy, hey, you guys have to, this guy is just something else. I'm amazing. Look, I'm pretty good looking. Where does it end? But no, you know what? On the same token as well is that I think sometimes, you know, what you don't hear enough of is also people speaking well about themselves, you know, and I'm not going to be the first to kind of bring you down at all. Like, no way. Simply Greg, don't do that. And I'm not about that. I'm one of those people of whom when I hear people even speak well about them, I confirm that for them. Do you understand? Like, let it be. And I think it just goes to show sometimes people kind of like reflect a lot of their insecurities when they're trying to bring someone else down. You know, you saying you're amazing, like, oh, easy, mate. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Don't be too cocky or confident. Mate, just because you're not confident about yourself, it don't mean you should bring someone else down because you think he needs to be on that level and speak. Like, come on. Just, look, I just deferred a lot of the hate that was coming your direction. Pay me later. I'm telling you. No, I'm joking.
But it's a thing where, like, just play to your strengths.
Yeah.
Literally just play to your strengths. If you think you're good at something, just do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But one of the things I also liked is that later on, obviously, not just, you know, how you navigated yourself into doing the comedy and you speaking to the people who were kind of like, you know, hosting it in that time because you wasn't even really supposed to be there. You was taking notes and you're like, yeah, I beg you slot me in there as well. Like, let me just go in, you know? So that was a hustler's mindset to kind of go in and be like, you know what, I'm going to go for it. But now you're in a position of which you've now got your own night that you can now kind of like put out. And obviously you've got that sorted out, the venues and all of that. And you're going to start bringing out your own events and things, which is something I'm also looking forward to as well. So this is why, obviously, what I love about your story is that, you know, not just the funny part about you knew that you was going to get fired. That's mad. I've never seen someone who's got the hunches for that. But, you know, what we are talking about today is how to be able to bounce back like a boss after getting fired. And you did exactly that in order to be where you are currently are at the present moment. And that is what I love.
Yeah, and I would say a big thing in my lifestyle changes and mindset is energy, vibrations, frequency. I'm big on that. Like, I can walk somewhere and I can feel energy. I was just following whatever my energy was going towards, sort of thing. Even with people, jobs, situations, parties, social gatherings, whatever. And I'm just getting more opportunities. Like, when I was asked to host for a different podcast channel, like, I got scouted whilst I was there for modeling.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm just operating at such a high vibration that I'm attracting what I'm meant to be attracting. And it's like the things that I'm not meant to be attracting, they're not in my life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it was even crazy. I went to the bathroom and then she, this lady came with her daughter.
Yeah.
She was just like, do you know where the change rooms are for her little kid?
Yeah.
And I was just like, don't know, must be down the street or something.
Yeah. Change room does.
Yeah. And then she's like, wait a minute. You got a really nice face.
Yeah.
You look really good. Have you done modeling before? And
Yeah.
I was like, I've been scouted a couple of times, yeah, but I haven't actually done it proper like that.
Yeah.
And that's just a situation of my energy just kind of just attracting this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's also why I was getting fired so often. Because they could sense that this guy here, he don't care about cleaning dishes. He don't care about serving customers. He don't care about tuna tartar and ceviche and all these crazy stuff.
True, man said ceviche and that.
Yeah, it's mad. The palette is crazy.
Yeah, he knows that.
The palette is crazy. But yeah, so that's, I kind of deeped when my energy was getting better. I was like, okay, that's why I'm getting fired so much. Because I've even had moments where they're like, why are you never smiling? And I'm like, I'm not going to be smiling whilst I'm scrubbing
washing
dishes. I'm not a weirdo, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so school book, you know? And if there's someone that doesn't follow the rules, see you later.
Yeah.
It's like, it's modern slavery. That's how I see it, innit?
Oh, that is a mad one. But you know what, Johnny, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us as well. So what we're going to do after, we're just going to go on a quick ad break. And after the ad break, when we jump back on, Johnny's going to tell us about how to connect into your that vibration and also just like elevate yourself onto another level so you can bounce back like a boss after being fired. And if you haven't been fired, then how to fire your own boss and bounce back like a boss. boss. So we're going to speak to Johnny about that after the break. Don't touch that dial. Simply Greg, CNMO.